Welcome. It's Thursday Live with Carlton Brown. I'm Carlton Brown. And for you who may not know me, I am a personal development and life transition specialist, and I help people navigate the confusion and stress that comes with change and transition so they can find that energy to enjoy the moments that matter and also create those moments that matter. So each Thursday, I come on live and I try to share tips and strategies that are going to help empower you, encourage you at times, and just help support you. And to where when those moments do get sticky, you have some skills or some behaviors or even just some methods to navigate those different thoughts or those different feelings or those different emotions. And so today, what came to mind for me follows along with what I touched on in my weekly newsletter. And if you're not on that, please join the community at carltonbrowncoaching.com where you can subscribe. And what I realized is that as individuals, we do a few things quite well. There are moments where we support others and we become the hero, if you mind, for others in an instant. We see their distress, we see how things are unfolding for them, and we lend them a helping hand or a word of encouragement, or we actually help them just move whatever's in their way so they can actually feel accomplished. And what we've done for our friends, our family, the lovers of our who we have, and just even our kids, especially, we show up for them in a great way. It's almost second nature. In fact, we don't even think about it. We don't overthink it. We just kind of do. But working with all types of adults and even early adults, what you realize is, and what I've realized is that it's not easy to do that for ourselves at times. So that's what I want to touch on today is becoming your own hero, being the hero that you need. You can cue the Mariah Carey music if you need to, but you have within you everything that you really need to show up for yourself fully. What we don't do, though, is engage that muscle. We don't pull that cord or that lever that says, I have to show up for me right now often enough. There are times when you're faced with like some different trials, or there may be times where you just kind of faced with different obstacles, whether it's at work or at home. And what happens is our internal voice and that dialogue that we have, it typically stays on a criticizing inner critic. You start to hear what coaches say is your gremlin. You start to have these moments of doubt. And sometimes that doubt, if you can't circumvent that and you can't stand up to it, that doubt becomes, a little, it can feed your fear, right? And then the fear can feed into something to where it's, again, you almost have this aspect of shame. And so to prevent that cycle from unfolding, what I wanted to do is give you 3 tips really that can help you just show up for yourself as the hero that you are. But before I give you those tips, there's something about it. Like, one thing we don't do intentionally enough as individuals is define what it means to show up for ourselves. So the first thing as a strategy, I would say, is figure out and define what, it means for you to show up for yourself. What does your inner hero look like for you personally, right? Because while it may be easy for us to say, hey, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all these superheroes come to mind, the reality is you need to be able to have a picture and a vision and a version of yourself that you can really see in your mind. And sometimes maybe you're able to call that person by name as if they're able to swoop in at times when you feel like your mind and your feelings and your emotions are really just getting out of whack. So one thing you can do on the front end is really define, who the hero is. What does your inner hero look like? Who are they? What characteristics do they have? How do they come in? What questions do they ask you to really jumpstart you? But from that point on, there are three things that I would say that really have to support you in that journey of being the hero for yourself, right? So the first thing is that, again, you have to accept the call. You have to accept the call. Like in every great movie, every great story, heroes are faced, the inner hero, if you will, the hero has an inner critic and they're faced with a challenge. One part of that challenge is realizing that they do have this skill, this superpower, or they have something that literally is saying, you're different. And what you can do and share and provide to others can really help move them in a great way. But you always notice there's some type of resistance to that. But once they accept it, that's where, the Yodas come in. They get these guides, or they get access to supportive aides, or they find that they have a sword that can do something different than they anticipated. And it's just not normal because they have this level of belief, but creativity and imagination kicking in, right? So in the end, a part of what we deal with as we go through life and change, especially, is that, while we may think people on the outside can help us, the truth is we really have to help ourselves. So the first thing we have to do is accept the fact that we are the hero for this moment. And we've been called to step up for ourselves, regardless of what the situation is. So accept the call is the first thing to do. The second thing I would say is be courageous. You kind of have to speak courage into stepping out there, courage into doing whatever the action is in terms of, if it's making an extra phone call to boost and to reach your sales goal, or if it's writing a handwritten note, or doing something, right? Like whatever it is, you have to really meet it head on. And that there's going to be times where that is just purely based off of your inner belief that it's going to happen. You're going to be able to make it happen. And while you are tepid in it, or, you may be a little scared, you have what it takes and you have the courage within to answer that call. So you have to really be courageous and believe that when you accept the call and when you step up for yourself, that it's going to work. It's going to happen. Like the saving grace that you need is going to come directly from you. You have to be in tune with that and believe that. Then lastly, the one thing I would say is you have to be persistent. Being persistent and trying to be the hero for yourself is going to build a muscle for you, right? You're going to see that, regardless of what comes up, there may be moments where you feel super energized, super high. You have this great self-efficacy where you can step up to the plate and you're not going to ask yourself a question, right? But there are also going to be those low moments where, something's going to be off for you. And for you to really meet the moment, you got to be able to rely on the fact that you've accepted this call, you've been courageous before, you've seen it before, and then there are going to be, at different times, different trials and tribulations or obstacles or situations that you really just have to face head on. And for you to be great at that, and for you to be able to really maneuver around it to where you feel like you can get back to enjoying the moments that matter and supporting yourself, you really have to be persistent and building out that skill set for yourself and building out the internal conversation for yourself to where you're not critiquing, the situation so much that you're making it desolate, that you're making it to where you can't see your way out of it. But in fact, you're saying, no, I've seen something similar to this, or I've helped somebody else navigate this. What would I tell them? What would I tell my best friend? What would I tell my brother, my sibling, my child, if they were facing this situation? And so, again, while there are going to be moments where you feel extremely energized and confident in what you can deliver on as the hero, there are going to be other moments where you really may not, and that's okay. So to really support yourself and to not be in a space where you're going to waver from answering the call, you do have to be persistent. So with that, those are the 3 tips that I would say. First and foremost, accept the call. You have to accept the call to be the hero in your own life, because you can. Nobody's going to hop in and save you. All right. Then be courageous and also be persistent in your efforts. You're not always going to have all the answers fully in front of you, but what you've shown yourself is that if given the opportunity and the time to work to a solution, you're able to solve it. And that's all this really is. That's all of what we're going to face, is different scenarios that feel time sensitive, but in the end, they are very similar in nature. And what you can make similar too is the fact that you can meet it and you can address it head on, and you have the skill set and the wherewithal to be able to support yourself through it, right? So with that, thank you for your time today. If you like this information, or if you would like to learn more about me and the practice that I have, please log on to carltonbrowncoaching.com. I do have a subscription where you can subscribe to our weekly email. But also, again, there are freebies there that are going up on the page as we speak. And we're going to be launching a course at some point too. So look out for that. That's going to be on the website as well as through the email list, where we talk about flourishing through life transitions. So, and that I'm going to be trying to kick that off in this month of October. All right. So with that, thank you for your time. If you like what you see, of course, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, and look forward to chatting with you next week. All right. Take care.